Thanks so much for joining us for our second annual general meeting. I'm Amory Chung. I'm the chair of the 2020-2021 Executive Committee. Just to note for everyone, this event is being recorded. But please do introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us your name, position, year you graduated U of T, or if you graduated from another school and are just here to hang out. Okay, so next slide. So in the next hour, we hope to, of course, reintroduce you to the existing executive. We want to provide a 2021 year-end review. Of course, this is a pretty informal meeting, so please do jump in, provide your comments. We want to actually hear from the members on the line as well on what perhaps they feel that, or directions we think they want to see us go in, to be quite honest. We're hoping to adopt the terms of reference for the committee. We've been working pretty informally, and of course, seek to elect a new executive for 2022 and 2023. So we can move on to the next slide. So of course, who we are, anyone in the alumni network for UTTAN, it's U of T graduates who are working in the transportation field. And we recognize there's so many specializations in the transportation industry, from planning, engineering, economics, and that's really why UTTAN has been born. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us for this event. It really is just getting to get together. Of course, I think this year we're hoping to get together in person, do a lot more socials if that is feasible and safe. But we'll jump into that a little later. Next slide. So I know for UTTAN, we were established in 2018, and some of our goals that we identify is we want to foster collaboration, we want to promote continuous learning and development, we want to connect students with alumni, and of course just strengthen alumni ties amongst, of course, all of the alumni who's graduated over the years. Next slide. So I think in 2020, we elected a slate of executives. I really want to take the time to thank everyone, Yunfei, Kevin, Victoria, Karina, Yasser, Joanna, and Yash, for their hard work and commitment over the last year and a bit. A special thanks to our members at large, Michelle and Adam, also, who's helped along the way. As this year comes to an end, we want to say a special thanks to those who will not be returning. So Yunfei, as vice chair, she did a great job hosting the alumni competition and reaching out and really filling the sponsorship role that was not fulfilled. So she really filled that void for the last year as well. So wearing two hats. To Yasser, our membership officer, really helping connecting with other alumni associations and his efforts to increase membership. It's been very interesting to try to gain traction in terms of our members thus far. And finally, to our student representatives, Joanna and Yash, being the voice of the students, really. I think the longer we graduate and depart from U of T, sometimes it's always good to have that voice of the students in the room to keep us grounded when we want to connect with students and understand their needs and some of the problems they're going through. Okay, next slide. All right, so our 2021 year-end review, I'll hand it over to Karina.
Awesome, thanks, Anne-Marie. I'll get you go to the next slide, Kevin. And I'm going to start the year in review with a summary of our 2021 New Frontiers in Transportation Student Competition. And it's exciting because I've actually been involved in this committee for 3 years now. And so this is our third annual competition, and it feels really great to have something that we're continuing to do on a regular basis and that we continue to get really positive feedback on. So this third annual competition, the theme was addressing transportation equity in the post-pandemic city. We had a lot of applicants, and we ultimately ended up having 4 teams that were made up of students from very interdisciplinary backgrounds that presented their research to a panel of judges this past September. We also, so that was kind of the engaging the student side. We also engage a lot of alumni through the student competition as mentors for the students. And we had so much interest in being mentors for these student teams that we actually ended up assigning 3 mentors for each team instead of just 2 as we did last year. And even with that, we still had to turn away mentors and ask them to reapply for next year to help out. So that was really great to see that we're through this competition, we're engaging both the students and the mentors and connecting them together, which really brings together a lot of the parts of our mandate as a committee. The winning team wrote a really amazing paper and delivered a wonderful presentation on fare integration for intercommunity transit trips. But some of the other topics included looking at impacts of service reductions on communities, the role of laneways in providing safe, active transportation facilities in the city. The first, second, and third place teams were awarded scholarships that totaled $4,500. $5,010 actually. And we're so thankful to our sponsors for being able to make that possible. I think students really benefit from the opportunity and then also having that financial reward at the end that can really help a lot with expenses for students. So again, a very huge thank you to our sponsors for that, and our students are very grateful for that as well. I'll get you to go to the next slide, Kevin. The one last fun fact from our student competition was that one group who researched the possible options for assisting riders after the Scarborough Rapid Transit line shuts down were actually featured in a Toronto Star article, and the article did call out the fact that it all began with a student competition. They didn't say our specific student competition, so I guess we'll have to get better at getting our name in there. But regardless, that's just so wonderful to see the student research, and the students were super excited about it, talking about it on social media, and that again just really emphasizes how valuable this competition is and how happy we are to be hosting it each year. So everyone can look forward to our 4th annual competition coming up in 2022. And now I will pass it off to the next slide, to Victoria.
Thank you, Karina. In 2021, we secured $8,985 through sponsorship. Thank you to our sponsors once again. After subtracting competition prize amounts, along with competition expenses, we ended up with a little over $4,000, which will carry over to 2022. Typically, we aim at spending our budget in full within a given year. However, this was an unusual year due to continued public health directions to limit public gatherings. This year, the situation seems to be getting much better, and if it continues this way, we're looking to be hosting an outdoor alumni event sometime in the summer. We will also be holding our annual student competition throughout the summer with symposium in the early fall. Next page. This year, all our sponsors were Tier 1 sponsors. Thank you once again for making student and alumni activities at UTTAN possible. I'll hand it over now to Kevin.
Thanks, Victoria. So I get the, honor of walking through the proposed terms of reference that we're hoping to adopt in a few minutes. In the notification about this meeting, I think the link to the draft terms of reference were sent out. So you may have had a chance to look at it, but if not, I'm going to kind of give a relatively high level overview of some of the key things we're looking to do. I would say they're not necessarily meant to be too complicated, but just to provide a little bit of governance and structure around UTTAN, as we have been around now for, I guess, approaching 4 years. So figured it was time to sort of codify some of the practices that we have developed over that time. I will also say we generously borrowed the WTS bylaws in terms of some of the language and the way things are put here. So giving them credit for their bylaws, but also I think just saying we're not sort of reinventing the wheel here. We're trying to be kind of as straightforward as possible and kind of look at best practices to keep it simple. So to move forward, this first section, there's basically 4 slides. So I will also say these aren't the exact, this isn't the exact language from the terms of reference. So if you're interested in that, we can kind of delve into that in a bit more detail. But these are kind of like a summary of the key points. The main point is to establish that our name is the University of Toronto Transportation Alumni Network. I think we've already sort of talked about the purpose, but really bringing together alumni from U of T of any discipline who now work in transportation as professionals. We're open to all members, and basically to be a member, all you have to do is acknowledge that you want to be one, sign up for our list, and then we sort of have a requirement here that we could establish other requirements, but there aren't really any right now. That's just what it takes to be a member. The second section of the terms of reference describes the AGM. So we will hold an AGM once a year. There's some requirements of notice. So basically sort of 10 days before would be the minimum amount of notice, but no more than 60 days, or like roughly 2 months. We've set our quorum at 6, which is potentially pretty low, but I think probably reasonable given the number of people that we've had attending AGMs for the last couple of years, and hopefully we are able to grow our membership base quite a bit once we're able to get back to having people in person again. The third section is regarding the executive committee itself. So there are both elected and non-elected members, but the non-elected ones primarily being student members and members at large. But the elected members are all the other positions. So this includes the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, communications officer, membership officer, and sponsorship officer. The terms that we are proposing is it's essentially a 2-year term, but really it's a 1-year term with the option to sort of renew for a second term. And I think the intent here was to bring a little bit of stability to the committee. So we don't have the entire committee turning over year, but sort of having some continuity. And then after the second year term, having apply. Just also to emphasize the fact that all members would be eligible to vote should there need to be a vote. I mean, practically speaking. And there is a provision to remove a member from the committee should that be needed. Hopefully not, but always good to have those bases covered. And then finally, in terms of the elections, we've sort of really created a bit of a process over the last couple of years, but have provided a bit of an explanation here just to kind of codify how we do it. So we sort of formally are proposing to have an elections officer, which is really just someone who is not running to be on the committee, but who kind of volunteers to lead the process as it may be. This person would also be responsible for accepting nominations, and we are intending to sort of keep the process similar to how we've done it before, which is to have nominations be made in advance rather than from the floor, and then sort of putting forward the nominations based on the recommendations of the elections officer and the nominations committee. And then a vote, if it's required in some instances, would be by electronic ballot, or can just be simply by sort of like an acclamation and show of hands if there's only like a single candidate for each position, which would likely be the case, but there could be some situations where that's not. And then finally, I think this is pretty straightforward. The executive committee may adopt other policies should they want to. Once these terms of references are adopted, we would come back to an AGM if we wanted to change anything. The same notice requirements would apply to the AGM itself, so 10 days minimum and no more than 60 days. And then we'll post a copy of the terms of reference online wherever sort of our resources end up sort of posting, whether that be like one of our pages or website, as the case may be. If anyone has questions, comments, discussion, would be happy to answer them. Okay, any questions?
I see no hands, Kevin. So you've
Great.
done an excellent job. Karina, thumbs up.
All right. Then we'll move to this slide. And I guess I'll pass it back to you, Anne-Marie.
Okay, so at this point, if there is no questions or concerns, does anyone here move to adopt the terms of reference? And that's to any member.
I can move to adopt the terms of reference, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Any second? Anyone would like to second these terms of reference?
Victoria does.
Thank you, Victoria.
I second the motion to
This is
adopt
how we get formal, everyone.
the terms of reference.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. The terms of reference are now adopted. Appreciate the hard work and on this item. And maybe we can move to the next slide, and I will say over to you, Michelle, our elections officer.
Great, thank you. So I'm a member at large with UTTAN. I was the treasurer and kind of the first executive slate, and I'm the elections officer for this year, getting set up for the executive positions for the 2022-2023 term. And I will note that this isn't the only way to get involved in UTTAN. There's plenty of other ways. As a member at large, I do partake in the student competition and other kind of roles, such as the elections officer once a year. So lots of other ways to get involved. So these are the executive positions. Kevin kind of went through these in terms of reference. So there's a chair, vice chair, secretary, whose role is primarily to stay organized and kind of project manage what we do here at UTTAN. The treasurer, so Victoria gave an overview of the financials. Communications officer, who handles marketing. Membership officer, who tries to get folks to sign up. Sponsorship is someone who tries to rally some private funding for our UTTAN related events and student scholarships, and then the 2 student reps. Next slide, please. So the slate, how we've done it this year, so similar to how Kevin has explained previously, is so we put out a call for folks to submit applications to the open positions on the executive slate for this year via email. If this is something that you'd like to keep an eye out for in the future, make sure you sign up for our email list. I think someone may put it in the chat, hopefully, if that's on our radar. And we're still growing, because UTTAN is still growing. We're still relatively new in the grand scheme of established alumni groups. We don't always have folks to fill the roles. So this year, we have a slate of people who were kind enough to express interest. Some of them we had to kind of prod a bit and convince to join us. So therefore, this year, there won't be kind of a formal election of voting between candidates for the same role, because there is just one interested candidate in each role. In the future, this may change. But I would like to introduce you to the 2022-2023 executive slate, who you see on screen right now. And I am going to let every one of these folks just say a quick little hello and a word about themselves. And then at the end, we'll kind of do that formal thing we did before, where someone will motion to accept the slate and then someone else will second it. So think about whether or not that's you. Kevin, next slide, please. All right, we'll start with Anne-Marie. Sorry, Kevin Wong. I should have copied and pasted your photo over here. You got your great photo on the previous slide. Just everyone remember what Kevin looks like. All right, Anne-Marie, Kevin Shannon, and Kevin Wong, please take it away.
Oh no, just thank you, everyone. I'm really looking forward to this year. I think with things coming back to normal, we're hoping to resume in-person activities and as such really get to strengthen our alumni relations with each other. And of course, continue the good work working alongside the students. So thank you. Kevin, Chan?
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Yeah, I've been on the committee since the early days, I believe, and I've been the secretary for the last 2 years. So excited, assuming people agree to adopt our slate, excited to take on a new role with the committee and looking forward to the next couple of years where we're able to get back to some of those great events and building in-person relationships. So it's getting to that time and looking forward to it. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Wong, and I actually just finished my master's degree this year, so I unfortunately missed a lot of the connections that UTTAN could have provided. So I'm really excited to be part of UTTAN this year to redevelop some of those opportunities for students and professionals alike. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll go to the next slide, please. All right, Karina.
Hi, everyone. So as I mentioned before, I've been involved in UTAN in a number of ways for, I think, about 3 years. So clearly, I enjoy working with these people a lot. I think reflecting back on the past couple of years, it's been one of the reasons I've actually stayed in touch with people outside of my direct work that are in the transportation field, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. So when the election kind of process came up, I thought, it's interesting to try on a new role. I had been the communications officer for, I think, 1.5 years. So I'm very excited for Victoria to take that on. And I will be moving into the treasurer position where I hope to very dutifully track the finances. I'll pass it to Victoria.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria. I've been with UTTAN for the last 1.5 years, and the last year being treasurer, and in the first half year being a member at large. I'm really excited to see what is the topic for student competition this year. Every year it's engaging, it's current, it's what's relevant right now, and I believe this is one of the big reasons why students do sign up and why mentors are excited to help them out. It's not something you would necessarily learn in a classroom, and it's a great experience for both students and for mentors to connect. And of course, I'm super happy about possibility of an outdoor event happening finally this year after 2 long years of not being able to do so. I'll pass it on to Adam.
All right, thanks, Victoria, and good evening, everyone. I'm Adam Rosenfield. I was first learned about this group a couple years ago, I guess, when I attended the competition, I guess virtually, and was so impressed at the kind of work that such a small but talented group of people put together. And so in the past year, I've taken part as a member at large, supporting various initiatives, and I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to hopefully join on as membership officer in the coming year, and try and build this organization and get more transportation alumni and students coming out of the programs at U of T involved in this kind of initiative, and grow the set of programs that we do. And I think it's just a great group here. So thanks everyone.
Thanks, Adam. And sorry, I will note for those of you who didn't see my chat message, I've made a small mistake on this. Victoria is actually the communications officer in the Slate this year. My apologies. Her name has been associated with treasurer because she's coming from the treasurer role in my head. So just a note, and we will update this. Next slide, please. All right, Justin, Sarah, and Usman, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. It's been my first year with UTTAN. I've heard many good things, and I've seen some of the work out of the student competitions. I'm really looking forward to getting involved and working again with some familiar faces and meeting all the other transportation professionals here. So thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm the planning student rep here on UTTAN, which I just joined this year. I'm really looking forward to working with everyone and helping build those connections between the students and between our alumni network. So I'm very excited for the student competition as well. Yep.
Hello, everyone. I am Usman Ahmed, and I'm the president of Institute of Transportation Engineers student chapter. And I'm very excited to be here. And I hope to collaborate with UTTAN on some of the events and the great work they do. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next slide, please, Kevin. All right, so do we have one after this, Kevin? I don't know if you could remind me if there's another slide. Yes, please. All right, so I will request that someone on the line please motion to elect the executive slate as they were just introduced. What if I show you my tiny dog? Will this make you?
I'm more to like the executive slate. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry that I interrupted that two dogs.
No, it's okay. And is there someone else who will confirm that?
I'll second.
Thank you. Second. So be it resolved, this is our new executive committee. Congratulations, everybody. I'm really looking forward to being a member on the UTTAN this year. And for those of you who are interested in getting involved who are not on the executive committee, there are plenty of opportunities, especially with the upcoming, fingers crossed, in-person events. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Thank you so much for your time and hard work as the elections officer to successful elections in a row. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I'll open up the floor to any other business from any members who would like to speak or would like to raise any items for the alumni or committee on the line. Okay, well, a special thank you to all the new slate of executives for joining UTTAN. Judy, perhaps I'll hand it over to you to say a few words.
Yes, hi, and thanks for that, Anne-Marie. I just ask for an opportunity at the end of this meeting to say thank you. So thanks to everybody who joined us this evening. We have 19 people here and we're not following our AGM with a reception. So I think that's remarkable. Thank you very much for joining us. I am amazed to see the performance of this team and the way they execute on the things that they're doing and the ideas that they have. And we're just so grateful, for all the work you do. And it was so great to hear Karina say that this is, being not a chore, but an opportunity to stay connected to other things. And I think, that is the point of all of this, is to be creating connections among people whose daily lives are tucked away in the important work that they're doing in different companies and different levels of government, all around transportation somehow, but that they come together somehow. And we knew it was a good idea. And I'm just so grateful, and especially that everybody kept us going through these last 2 years, which have been so hard in so many ways. But to keep the ball in the air, to keep the enthusiasm going when we haven't been able to get together, and do the networking part of an alumni network, has been really great. And it's been mentioned a few times. Let's certainly hope that we will have an opportunity to get together sometime in the next several months, because that's going to be a great thing. Calling out Giles for joining us from the UK late in his evening. Our transportation alumni are largely settled in the Greater Toronto area, but they have gone all over the world. And we hope that this alumni network is a way to reconnect with people who are everywhere and to, to set up those connections for our students when they graduate who may go off to other places and would be welcome, have a group that they could belong to. So there's so much potential here. It's all just going so well. And I want to say thank you, and how much I enjoy supporting this and being part of this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Judy. Kevin, perhaps next slide. Just to wrap up, anyone is welcome to be a member at large, and of course everyone's welcome to join our monthly meetings and are able to contribute. Please do subscribe to our mailing list, follow us on LinkedIn, and of course stay tuned for upcoming events in 2022. So thank you everyone for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I look forward to hopefully seeing everyone in person this year, and thank you.